Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Alana James, and it's really my pleasure to start what I hope becomes sort of a series. So if anybody in the room today or is watching this is a graduate student and would like to test out the waters, has something they want to say to the world of graduate students about their journey and what you've learned, and would like to test the waters of what it's like to really do the work from this side, then I want to invite you to email me at alana@doctoralnet and start the conversation that Jiacheng started a while back. So she came to me and said that she would like to do this kind of work when she graduates. And I said, okay, why don't we, what would you say to graduate students? What would you do? What's important to you? What do you think it would have been nice if somebody had told you when you were first starting? And so that process leads her here today, and I'm very, very thankful. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Jiacheng, and we'll go from there.
Okay, hello everyone. This is Jiacheng. Thank you, Dr. Alana, and thank you for you all joining today's student-to-student discussion about how to keep your grad work consistent through a busy life. So before we begin, I would like to let you know a little bit more about myself. As you can see from the picture, from the slide, I'm originally from China. And I came to the United States in 2013 to get my master's. And now I'm working on finishing my dissertation in human resource development at Texas A&M University. So in my spare time, I like to do yoga and sewing, crafting, and design furnitures. So it's just a lot of stuff that I like to do. And in today's talk, I would like to share the following two parts based on my experience so far. So part one is about strategies which are helpful to me to get my work and life balanced before COVID-19. In part two, I'm going to share my adaptation strategies after quarantine situation happens. So in both parts, I will first explain what a busy life looks like for me, and in other words, what my stressors are. Then I will present my coping strategies with a calendar and explain the reason why I found each strategy helpful. And so let's get started to talk about part one. Okay, here's the interesting part. Before the COVID-19, I was very new to marriage life. That means I'm not 100% confident of knowing how to maintain a relationship and how to have a positive negotiation skill of sharing housework, all that kind of stuff. Also, I have a newborn baby. Right now, she is going to be 9 months old, and she's extremely cute. But the stress is still there since this is my first child and I need to learn a lot of stuff to know how to take care of her. As for my motherhood, what stressed me out the most is the endless pumping sessions and breastfeeding. So I feel super tired and sleepy after breastfeeding my baby. Additionally, I face a lot of guilt because, for example, when a baby's in daycare, I feel guilty not being able to take care of her in person. That's like a guilt from a working mom. Then here comes the big stress of writing a dissertation. I always feel writing a dissertation itself can be a very stressful and like a full-time job. Therefore, I struggled a lot in regard to how to write consistently, especially with a very tiring body. So you can see that's why I'm interested in this topic, because I'm so stressful. So I was actively looking for coping strategies. So I hope all the things I share with you all today will be helpful. And besides all those, dissertation, those big stressors, I also need to do a graduate assistant work. So I definitely need to figure out some time to finish my task. And although I was not able to make any efforts on job searching right now, because of so many things on like stacked on my shoulder. I feel the anxiety and pressure are still running in the back of my head about job searching. Because so after I graduated, and if you don't put your effort to find a job, what are you going to do? So those are my stressors. And next page is even more interesting. It's very colorful, so don't be overwhelmed by it. So with all of the stressors I mentioned above, I proactively explored different strategies, right? So I was thinking before, when I was preparing this webinar, I was thinking, what will be a better way to help you all know the strategies I use? So I went back to check my Google Calendar because I'm always a calendar person. Went back to check, okay, so how do I manage my life in a day? And then I think of this way to share with you all, like a visual aid and very practical explanation of the strategies I use. And I did not fake any of the event. This is exactly what happened on that week. So basically the calendar has two parts, which is the two colors, right? The blue one means self-care. Oh no, the blue one means study related stuff. The purple one means self-care events that I've tried. Then I will present individually the blue parts and also the purple parts, so you don't feel too distracted by both of the events. So now let's get to see the study strategies I've used. As you can see from the screenshot, the only reason there's so many blue blocks can happen is because I use daycare. That's the first thing. That's the first strategy I want to share with you all, because some of my friends said, "Oh, it's so expensive to use daycare, and how about just use my parents and they're far away, and all those kind of stuff." You know what? I figure out just throw all those concerns, throw all those guilt away. Just use daycare if possible, because the baby is still very cute there. And they feed a baby and change diapers very well. So don't worry, throw those guilt away. So the first strategy is definitely use daycare service. So this calendar and this work can be even show up in this calendar. And then is set up a study routine. The reason we need to set up a study routine is because just to like train your body to feel, oh, this is the time to get up. This is time to work. And when I dress this kind of thing, it's time for me to work. When I grab a cup of coffee, it's time for me to work. So it's like a ritual to help you get to work. Because I found when I do not use a calendar, I do not block my times of studying, I just feel like a total hot mess. I will lay around in the couch and binge eating or binge social networking and binge watching YouTube videos. And by the end of the day, I feel even more stressful because I do not get anything done. And also, the baby's in daycare, and I paid other people to take care of my baby, and I was not doing anything at home. And I was not doing anything meaningful as well. So definitely set up a study routine for me is very helpful. And then you can see like the Monday routine is I go to Panera Bread, which is a restaurant that can provide you food all the time. And I like the food there. So I chose Panera Bread so I can be stress-free about making breakfast. Oftentimes, I feel after I cook the breakfast, I'm so tired. I will lay down again and then start my freestyle day. And then I feel more stressful. Like the cycle continues from there. And then I tried so many times just to stay in Panera Bread because I'm so thrifty about saving time. So I found it's not very successful to stay in one place. Therefore, I started to change up places and tell myself, hey, it's not It's not that you're wasting time on commute. You're actually helping yourself to get fresh air, to get to another environment, to help you be more productive. So those time are nicely wasted. So then I started to change my study locations to public library, to coffee shops and Starbucks, all kinds of coffee shops. And why I mentioned public libraries, because I found there are so many public libraries here in Texas, and they are very clean, very helpful, and it's free. So you can have all the Wi-Fi you need and all the resources, like the printers you need, everything you need to help you to get work. So that's why I like the public library, and I strongly recommend you to search a public library in your area. And the fourth strategy I use is FocusMate. It's funny how I know FocusMate, because I jumped in one of the webinar here. I do not remember which session, but I remember somebody just mentioned FocusMate for one time, and he did not mention what it is, how does it work, why it's helpful. But I just went ahead and Googled FocusMate. So what it is for somebody who, maybe some of you guys have already used it, but for people who haven't used it, I strongly recommend you to give it a try, because it has 3 free sessions to do within a week. If you want more sessions, you will need to pay like $5, which is no big deal for many people, right? So the FocusMate idea is to connect you with a stranger, a completely stranger, to work with your undivided attention in 15 minutes. And the idea is so odd to me at first, because who would ever imagine to study with a stranger and be so productive? You must be feeling, wow, what do I need to say? But actually, it really helps. So I recommend you to go ahead, search FocusMate in Google, Google it, and then set up your first session to try it out, to see whether it will help you to get focused. And on Thursday, on Wednesday, Wednesday, you can see that I have a writing center virtual meeting. So the reason I put it there is to show you to take advantage of your university resources. For A&M, they have a university writing center, and they offered a writing consultant to meet with you either face-to-face or virtually to help with any issues you have in writing. So I found that's very helpful. And the last thing is, you can see on Thursday, I have a weekly call to my chair. As we know that for people who are doing dissertation, your chair is the major audience, right? Your reader. So if your chair is satisfied with your work, and you will be very likely to get it done and graduate. So I found calling my chair weekly to update my progress is very helpful for me to get things done, because, for example, from Monday to Wednesday, I did not get anything related to dissertation done, but I know Thursday I have a meeting with him, and I said, oh my God, I need to work super hard on Thursday to get at least some of the things done to discuss with him. So that is something I used to help me to hold me accountable and get my writing done. So those are the major study strategies I use. There are some other strategies I've tried. Some are successful, some are not. Most of them are helpful to me. So the first one is to have a weekend study expectations. I struggled with this a lot, because I feel like I'm very greedy regarding to work. Sometimes I feel like I'm a workaholic, because I feel, okay, I have 24 hours in a day, then at least I can work for 8 hours, just like, people who work in a corporate setting, so they can work for 8 hours. So I ask myself, and my expectation is very high to work with my undivided attention for 8 hours, but that's not very possible for me in reality. So then I started to talk with my mentor, started to talk with my chair about to set up with a reasonable study hour expectations. Then I found 6 hours a day is really helpful for me. Like in the morning, 3 hours, in the afternoon, 3 hours. And also because I need to pick up the baby at 6 p.m. So after 6 p.m., I need to tell myself no work. Because if I don't say that, because I made all the mistakes to write all the tricks and tips lists, because I used to say, okay, I need to squeeze some time to work more when the baby's home, but it doesn't work. I feel guilty. I feel, oh my God, I was not able to do anything after 6 p.m. The baby just drained me, and the housework drained me, the dinner cooking drained me. So then I modified it. I said no work after 6 p.m. Then I feel happy. And then the weekend, the reason why the weekend calendar is not showing up to you all is because I realize how important it is to do self-care. So I do not set up any studying sessions during the weekend. But if I found some time to study, then I will tell myself, oh, I have some bonus studying hours. So I'll feel even better. Then I will want to do more. So during the weekend, I normally just have a movie night or do grocery shopping and walk in the park or go to a church if you like, with your families. And the next thing I have tried is bullet journal, because as you can see from my introduction, I'm very I love arts, so I tend to combine the schedule with arts. So I feel drawing some of the cartoon images and tape some of the nice pictures on your journal is very can reduce my stress. So that's the only reason why I recommend bullet journal, because you need to do something to make yourself happy. For me, is drawing cartoon-like pictures. And then the next thing I have used, and actually is beside me, I put a picture on this slide, and I can show you here on the video too. Is the tool I use. It's called time timer. You might not be able to see here. So how it works is, if you set 25 minutes, then you just do 25 minutes here. The concept is real simple. Is to help you visually to see how much time you have left. So the reason I purchased this is because I'm a very visual person, and also setting up a timer in my phone doesn't work, because I just lack of self-discipline. I just know myself very well. I cannot use a phone. I will automatically check emails, automatically reply emails, and check everything I want to check. And Facebook, by the end of the day, Facebook, Instagram, and then I will start my evil cycle, non-productive cycle. So I kind of combine the time timer, the physical timer, with Pomodoro technique, which is working 25 minutes and then you rest for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So I found that's really helpful for me, because I would just say, okay, 25 minutes, I can do that. And what is my goal? I have only one goal, and I'm going to just focus on that one goal. So that helps to trick my mind to help me to get going. And the next strategy I've used for a long time, which is turning off my notifications for all of the apps, because I feel like maybe I have OCD or something. I just have to click on it if there's a one sign beside the app. So I found that's very meaningless, because most of the time it's asking you to update, but I really do not use that app at all. So why do I need to update it? So then I just turned everything off. but I only left the messages on because just in case my family members need to find me for something, or baby has some situations that I need to deal with immediately. And the next one is something I learned from a professor in our university. She started a program called Power Writing, and she told us to try to be real creative about writing, to try to write without looking at a screen. Because she said the most difficult part of writing is to get your thoughts down. And what hinders you to get thoughts down is you tend to always correct, edit when you write. So in this way, it will help you to stop editing at all. And I've used a piece of paper, put it on top of my screen, and I just do not see anything. I was looking like a crazy person, just typing crazily and without looking at anything, or when I was sitting in front of my standing desk, I was just wandering around and come back and type more. So sometimes then I do not take a look at the caps, and then it's all uppercase. But anyways, it helps you to get your words down. And the last one, but not the least, is just the last one I've tried, is to connect existing habit with writing. So this is also I have learned from the professor. So she told us that there are so many things that you do in a life, you do it automatically because you do it every single day. There's no effort for you. So for example, like brush your teeth, and connect those things which does not cost you any effort to writing. So she told us to, right after we brush our teeth, write one paragraph and then go back to get dressed or anything. So I've tried that, but I need to try more. I'm not very successful on that one. So that's for work and study tips. Do you all have any questions, or do you have any other tips you want to share which is very beneficial for you? I think I cannot see. I think you mute yourself.
I always forget that when I'm muted. If you have something you want to type in, raise your hand. It's in the chat box, and we'll know, and we'll wait for somebody to type. Otherwise, it could be that everybody's just right with you, and we'll go on. So let's say I don't see any hands going up. Give it. Oh, Christina says she keeps a physical planner.
Yes, that's my bullet journal planner.
Does anybody else have something that works for them? As I said, or a question, raise your hand. A couple more questions have come into the Woo Clap. So if you have a question that you want to address at the end, you can go to www.wooclap, WOOCLAP, just like it sounds.com /QS for student, questions for student. And we'll answer those at the end. Christina also decorates it.
Yes.
You know what? I have done that as well. At certain times of my life, I have very decorated journals. So I would appreciate
to show you all that I have very decorated journals.
Yeah, that's great. It does, and it makes you happy. If you like to do that kind of thing, it makes you happy.
Yes.
Okay, I think that's probably it. We'll go on.
Okay, so the next part is self-care. And as you can see from the calendar, the screenshot I posted here, and I also set up a self-care routine. The same thing applies, the same thing as the study routine, right? And then because it's still building habit. And the second thing I do is to talk with a counselor. I found it's extremely helpful for me because the counselor is always very positive. You can always feel free to bounce ideas and share your concerns with a person. So after the session, I always feel like I get something and I have something to modify. For example, this daycare thing, I used to be very naive when I just had a baby. I thought, okay, so when the baby's asleep, then I can study. And I was totally naive on that sense because there's no way for me to do that. I cannot study while taking care of a baby because when the baby is asleep, I am very sleepy too. She drained all of my energy away. So that's the benefit from talking with a counselor. And also, I always like to do yoga or meditation. So I tend to put it in my calendar every single day. But just remember, sometimes if you do not do it, that's fine. I just put it there so I have notifications and I can check, oh, this is the time for me to do this. But actually my expectation to do yoga is like 3 times a week, not every single day, because I know we're human beings. We cannot treat ourselves as a robot. And I used to make that mistake too. That's why I modify my expectations to 3 times a week. And for yoga, before the quarantine time, I registered yoga pot because I was not able to do it at home. No self-discipline again. So, but anyways, you just need to find your ways to make it work, right? So I just spend the money, spend the time driving to the yoga pod, and then I made a yoga session happen. That's what all matters. And the fourth point is really interesting because you might wonder why helping others can help me be more productive and why that's a self-care. Self-care should be self-centered. Why we need to help others. But actually, I found it's really helpful because one day I have a friend who has some issues, like picking out an advisor. She was very struggled. She did not know which one to choose. And then I talked with her and walk her through my experience of how I chose my chair. And then she was so happy. She said it bothered her for several weeks, and now finally she kind of know where to go. And that makes me feel like, wow, this is so meaningful. I really like to do this kind of job. In future, I want to be a professor. I want to do something like a consulting, enter a consulting business or something to help people out because that makes me feel happy. So that's the reason why I put help others here as a self-care strategy. And the last thing I put there is cooking. This is very funny because cooking is always a very stressful thing to me. I can cook 1 or 2 times a week without feeling stressful. But if I need to cook every day, I just feel like I don't even want to eat. So what I did here is I negotiated with my husband. I said, how about one day I cook, one day you cook, and then another day we dine out. And that makes us less stressful. And also the reason I have an idea of taking turns to cook dinner is also because of the counselor. She suggested us taking turns, and she convinced me it's okay to spend the money as long as you feel happy and you're pretty comfortable about your financial situation, spend the money. So I feel this is a burden to Asian people. But for me, I don't know. I was just always very thrifty. And whenever I spend money outside, I just feel guilty because I feel, oh, I can cook at home and cooking at home is so less expensive. Why do I need to spend the money outside? But now I realize it's a self-care strategy. So still, as for cooking, throw the guilt and do your negotiation work. Okay, other tips I've tried is get real physical. And I learned this in a hard way because I want to get more things done, so I need to sacrifice some workout time, right? So previously, before I registered Yoga Pod, I did not do any workout, and I feel terrible every day. My neck is hurting, my back is very painful. So it also impact my emotions because, for example, maybe the baby is need a diaper change, and I will just say again, just really again. So I will not have a very positive attitude to things happening in my life, but only because my body hurts. So that's why I started yoga pod. I started to have the awareness of how important to get physical. So then I block my time to make sure I get some exercise done every day or several times a week. And the next part is daytime. But if you're single, you might not have that issue, but still you can date with your friends. You can, because every relationship you need to maintain it and protect it, right? You need to spend time with a person. So I found that's also very useful because, you know, by negotiating who cooks, you need to have a very good relationship with your partner, or he will say, no, I don't want to cook, you cook. So that's kind of a very necessary strategy for couples because you need to make your dating time happen. Also, the counselor told me that to many couples, the biggest issue is the life is so busy, so they sacrifice their dating time. They don't spend time together, so then everything starts to crash. So that's why I started to have that awareness. And the bullet journal mood tracking thing is not about journaling, it's about mood tracking because it is about knowing yourself, knowing when you feel good, knowing when you feel down. So when knowing what can help you to feel good, what can trigger you. So I started this mood tracking because right after I delivered the baby, I think I suffer from postpartum depression. So I always feel up and down, up and down. So then I said, wow, this is very unhealthy for me. So how can I fix it? So then I used my bullet journal and I started to track each day how I feel. But then I feel each day is too broad. Then I separate the days into three sections, which is the morning, afternoon, and evening, to track how I feel and what triggered me to do that. So when I noticed I was very happy, then I write down why I'm happy. Then I figure out, oh, it's because I eat outside. I had breakfast outside. I met with my friends. So that's how I find out all the strategies that work for me because of the mood tracking. And the next thing is to ask help from grandparents if possible. If you have a child, if the grandparents live close to you. But even if not, you can use some apps because I noticed that there's an app, I forgot the name, but I can search for you. It's an app that you can pay for babysitters, and the babysitters are all rated by the people who recruit them before. So that's how you figure out whether they are good or not, and everyone's price is kind of different. Hourly rate is different. And the reason I said ask for help here is because if you don't ask for help, people will not know. The grandparents will not know you desperately need help. Yeah. And that sounds very crazy to me, but really everyone's had their own life. So when they get busy, they really don't know how you're doing. Then the last thing is very common is to get social and have lunch with friends and families. The reason I found out is from the mood tracker, because whenever I stop studying and have a good time, good conversation with friends and families, I feel very happy. And I feel like, oh, I'm such a lucky person. I want to study more. I want to get this degree done. I want to do more beneficial thing to the society. So that's some other self-care tips. Yes. Somebody said, that sounds like I told you. You said that, Dr. Anel?
I was just responding. Christina said that she has a passion planner that has a journaling section that does the same thing you were doing. And I asked her whether or not that she found it to be a tool that also helped her know herself better. Because I think that's what you were saying, is that your mood planner helped you understand yourself, helped you know how to put things in place.
Yes, exactly. And I know Passion Planner too, because I'm a big fan of planner, and both digitally and physically. So I used to print out Passion Planner PDF, because their website also offers free PDF for you to give a try before you buy it. Yeah.
And Adele says she has the app Dailyo allows for mood tracking.
Wow, that's cool. I would like to give it a try.
Yes, and if I agree with Christina, I also can be a negative. I can start the day thinking, ugh. I have to get my head past the so
Yeah.
it's good to know. These are really good, helpful. So
Okay.
what happened a month ago when everything went inside?
Yeah, when everything went inside, it's like I feel like I need to rethink and redo my schedule and rethink my daily activities again. It's just like it's so difficult to get used to a routine. Now it changed up again. So that's why I call it as post COVID-19 adaptations, because I am trying to adapt to the situation. So from marriage life to job searching, the stressors are the same, right? And then all of a sudden, because of this quarantine thing, it added two more stressors for me, which is working from home completely. Because previously I was working from home, but that home is like a coffee shop, library. Right now it's completely staying at home. So it's very tough. And also my husband is coming back to work in the same place with me. Then I feel very stressful, because he tends to listen to music and just loudly, and I don't like that, because sometimes I will have a meeting with somebody and I cannot even hear them clearly. So those two stressors are added to the list. And also the baby staying at home too. So when the baby is staying at home, she needs all of your effort to take care of her. So, and also my baby does not even take one nap in the daily time. So it's just it drained both of us to take turns to take care of her. But luckily, my baby sleeps overnight and sleeps almost 8 hours every night. So the good part is I do not need to get up at nighttime and help her to eat and change diapers. So with the change of the stressors and the situations, this is what I have adapted. And don't be surprised and don't be overwhelmed by this again, because because I'm going to break it down in the same way. The blue blocks means study related. The purple blocks means what I did differently to do self-care. And for study, I still use the same strategy, which is setting up a study routine. But this time, the difference I did is protect my working time. Previously, when I was working at Panera Bread or a library, if somebody called me, I would just pick it up, right? If I see it, I will pick it up. But now I was very strict on my phone and on all the distractions, because when the baby's at home, I need to take turns to watch the baby with my husband. So I study, work 2 hours. My husband is taking care of the baby. Then my husband is working 2 hours. I am taking care of the baby. So I had a discussion with my husband. I said, when I'm studying or when you are working, let's try to create a no distraction environment, which means if you have any questions, please wait. I finish my study session and I will definitely do the same to you, for you. So That's why I said protect working time is so important, and that directly related to prioritize. I used to create a lot of to-do lists. I don't know why I'm just those kind of person who can create a lot of to-do lists, housework related, baby related, study related, GA related, just a lot of things in my head. But because of the quarantine, the one positive aspect of it is I have less working hour, and then it helped me to prioritize, because during those 2 hour precious time, I really need to go through my list and pick 2 goals that I want to finish today. Because if I focus on doing laundry, doing some other housework or cooking or taking care of a baby, something like that, I will not be able to move forward for my dissertation work. So the 4-point study, choose to study first or do my GA work first. I always tend to do study first, because I will have more energy in the morning. And as time goes by, my energy level is just low, go down, 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 down. So then in the afternoon, because I have to submit or grade papers or something like that, then I will make sure it happens, but not in my peak energetic time. So the second thing is the same principle, but I changed up a little bit, which is change study locations. Because at home, we only have a study room. This is the study room, has a standing desk. And this is the only place I work, because my husband used to not work at home at all. And now what I did is to create 2 more workstations for us. I got 2 tables set up in the living room and the bedroom. So by doing that, it can help me to work at any place. For example, if my husband is having a Zoom meeting or something, then I can go to the bedroom to have a meeting, and I have a desk right there ready for me. So that's how I change study locations. And I even heard somebody do this. They said they're getting out from the bedroom, and they put their work clothes on, they put their backpack on, they walk to another room and say, "Oh, I arrived." So it's ready for me to work. So that's how we trick this is just another way for us to trick our mind to study. And the third thing, I still use FocusMate, but I use Zoom more frequently, because from last month's experience, I feel Zoom has really good quality, audio quality, and the sharing screen thing is very helpful. And I feel connecting with friends through Zoom is a great way to avoid me feeling isolated. Because study at home, you're not able to see a lot of strangers walking beside the street or in a coffee shop. That helps me to be more focused. But right now, I was not able to see strangers. I was not able to talk with random people who are so interesting in a coffee shop or something. Then I just feel very lonely. But by doing Zoom, setting up sessions setting up time to meet with your friends will really help. I even did something like calling my friend and in a very early morning, and I do not feel like doing anything. So I called her, and then we started to dress up together. And then we said, okay, let's start walking in the park together. So we just connected through the phone all the time, and it helps me to get my exercise done, and it helps me to get the day started. And the fourth one I already mentioned is a priority, and the fifth one is still very important, to update your chair. But what I did different is update my chair about my emotion, give him an emotion update too, because this period of time is very stressful for everyone. So give him an emotion update about where I am emotionally and where I am related to my dissertation work. He can understand better. And he even, just by updating my emotional status. He even told me that, actually writing 1 page every day is fine. It's okay at this time. So then I know, oh wow, expectation is lower. And I thought, okay, great. 1 page, I can do that. I can easily get that done, right? But if I think, okay, endless pages, then I would tend to do nothing. So there are 3 other things I want to give it a try because I haven't really worked on it. The first one is joining writing group. I always heard about that. You can create your own writing group or use or find one in public, but I never tried it because I just use Zoom to meet up with one person instead of a group of people. So I'm not sure how that works, but we can give it a try. The second one is set up a reasonable study hours expectation. The same thing. So since my chair told me 1 page is fine, then I started to adjust my study hours. I will feel less guilty if I cannot get those 2 hours done by accomplishing everything. So sometimes I can just do 1 hour very focused and the other hour doing some other extra stuff, and I can tell myself it's okay. And the third thing is dress code. I was not doing really good on dress code because still it's the same thing as meet with friend, because friend will not really judge you how you dress, and everybody wear pajamas, that's fine. So I want to give it a try to dress more professionally to see if it can help my productivity. And this one, the next slide is about self-care. You might have an impression of what I did for before quarantine situation. I think I have less self-care. And as you can see from the slide, there are more. The reason I build more self-care is because it's too stressful. So you have to love and care yourself in order to make something happen. Because so what I did is just establish a routine. Same thing, same principle applies. And I changed my routine a little bit because the baby is home right now. So how do I make my workout with the baby? So then I started to say, okay, I can do running with the baby, walk with the baby, yoga with the baby, because my husband has to work from that time. So I will be the main person to take care of the baby and then get my exercise down. And I know I don't like running every day, walking every day. So I tended to change it up a little bit to help me feel less boring. And then second thing is get physical. It related to the yoga with the baby, walk with the baby thing, because again, by not doing any physical exercises, I totally feel like a walking dead. That's not exaggeration at all, because also because of positive experience I gained from doing yoga pod. That's why I want to do more, but I want to change it up a little bit to walk. So I walk or yoga so I can engage with the baby. And still continue talking with the counselor, but this time is through phone. So talking with the counselor, this time I can talk with her about how stressful I feel in a quarantine situation. How can I negotiate with my husband so he can lower the music, all that kind of stuff. And she even recommended me, he really need a good ear plug so he can enjoy his music, but he will not interrupt you. And still connect with friends is important. Before the quarantine, I used to just hang out with friends and have lunch with them and then study with them. But right now, I connect with friends by having lunch with them through Zoom and then study with them. So I just changed the way, but the principle is the same principle. And also, I tend to find different friends. because if you are with one friend, then that friend schedule might not work with you. So you can connect with many other friends to see whether their schedule fit for your schedule. And it's a great opportunity for connection, because when before quarantine, I was less social, I feel, because I tend to just focus on myself, get my thing done, and not talking with anybody. And now I was very connected to my families and to my friends. And the last thing is collaboration on baby. That situation only applies if you have a baby and you have to watch him or her all the time. So what I did is take turns with my husband. Like I mentioned before, 2 hours I take care of her, and he has undivided, no distraction environment for him to get work done. And then when it's time for me to work 2 hours, then he will take care of the baby. He will not ask me any questions. So those are the things I adapted from my previous self-care strategies. Yep. Some other strategies I also tried is ask for help, grandparents. So if you paid attention to this previous slide, you will see on Monday and Tuesday, baby with grandparents. The reason why it happens is because I asked for help. It is. I told them it is too stressful and it is too overwhelming for both of us work and take care of the baby at the same time. We are not able to do that. Since we're all quarantined, we were able to help the baby a little bit to take care of her more, so we can get more work done on Monday and Tuesday, and then from Wednesday to Friday, we still can balance it out. We still get work done, but less work, but we get all of the things done. So that works. And set up office rules at home. The reason why I said that is because there was one time I did not knock the door, and I was just came in to talk with my husband, and he was startled. And he said he would like me to knock the door. So setting up some office rules like that is necessary too, because we will just take everything for granted or assume that you need to do that. But actually talking about it and setting rules clearly can ease everyone's stress. Then active searching for coping strategy. Yes, that's the reason why I did the webinar, how I prepared this webinar too. And because I have too many stressors, I have to active searching for coping strategies to survive. So if you feel very stressful and you don't feel like doing anything, just Google, how do I get out of this situation? And what are some coping strategies I can start to use? And then start with one thing. But I highly recommend you to start with getting physical. Then you will feel like doing something. Next thing is quite interesting because I invest on some equipment like an automatic cooking pot, because in Chinese style of cooking, we always stir fry things. That means you have to wash the pot, you have to stand there all the time and then stir fry it. So I found this automatic cooking pot really helpful because all you need to do is to put all the ingredients inside and then add salt, pepper, all that kind of stuff you want, and then close the lid. Then the cooking pot will stir fry by itself. And by that time, I will have some free time to wash dishes or wipe the floor because the baby is all over the place. So I need to make it clean. So invest on some of the tools like that is really helpful. Other stuff you can invest in like a standing desk, but you actually don't need to really buy an expensive one. You can create one by using a box or anything can make your computer higher. And then the last thing I want to say is it's okay to delay. That's like a mindset thing, because I used to feel very stressed. I said, oh my God, this quarantine thing happened. I don't know how long it will last. And I have less hours to work on my dissertation. What can I do to graduate in time? And then by talking with the counselor, by talking with my family members and my mentors, they all told me it's okay to delay. It's a very stressful time, and as long as you make some progress, you did some of the work, you're a hero. You're doing great. So that's why this strategy also ease my stress, because I feel okay, then I can take it easy. I can live day by day and have a great time with my baby. If I was not able to write a sentence or write a paragraph a day, it's okay, because I am making little by little progress like a turtle. But what matters most is I am making a progress.
So, fabulous, absolutely fabulous. And we'll go through what's happened in the chat. But I think the two people who have come in together on the questions from Wu Clap, I think you might want to address these separately. In the midst of COVID-19, how do you balance the work stuff that you've been talking about, but what do you do about feeling overwhelmed by the state of the world? And I think that's hand in hand with the other one, which says dealing with burnout at this time. So what about the mental health that
I
because of this time?
in On top of my head, I'm thinking of two strategies. One is think the positive, and then that goes hand in hand with the other strategy, with journaling, with writing in your note and tell your and answer yourself why quarantine is a good thing. Because if you think in this way, it really reduces your, because if you drive to work, it takes your time, and it might make you feel anxious or angry because of how bad other people drive, or you have to wait in the traffic, and it doesn't do anything good for your mental health. So now you save this time by doing some other stuff that you want to do, like a home project or planting stuff. And also you have more time to stay with your families and your kids. So journaling all those positive side of why quarantine is good for you, I think it will help to ease the mental burden of the situation right now.
That's excellent. That's really excellent. And I'll just go quickly through the chat in our last couple of minutes. Adrian has given everybody a link, covid19.thiswayup.org.au, which has some trusted mental health offering tons of resources for that same question. Deborah had a question about self-care. Every time I completed a big project, i.e. journal, papers, or tests, I tend to have difficulties getting back to research work mode, because one task is done and then it's hard to go back to the broader. Typically it takes days or a week when I'm not working productively. Have you ever experienced that? And if so, what do you do to get back on track when you've stalled?
It's crazy because I suffer from it a lot. I used to be so burned out, and I just lay in couch for weeks, for like really a week and a half. And then I told myself, oh my God, I cannot do this. I need to get back to track. I think the main reason is because you're doing it too much. So that also connects to self-care, which is setting your expectations too high. Like this, oh, I have to finish the project, so every single day I have to work 5 hours to finish it. So start early definitely helps, and don't work yourself to death. Just work like 2 hours a day and say, oh, that's good progress. So oftentimes why I burned out is because I work like a crazy person, just nonstop, and no eating, and do not really take care of myself, no exercise, and no communication with friends, feel super isolated, and feel nobody cares about me. So that's why I said again and again, why self-care is so important. It's because you need to make yourself happy. You need to lower your expectation, maybe adjust your expectation, because maybe the expectation is really too high. So adjust it, and then don't treat yourself as a non-human being, because that's what I have done before too. I treat myself as a robot, and I have to follow the schedules I set up. So also don't be overwhelmed by my schedule on the calendar, because I really do not follow it 100%. It's just like a guidance for me. But remember, you're a person, you're a human being. You have emotions up and down. You have a lot of stuff to do. So it's okay to jump one, but just to make sure you're happy and stable to get something done. Yeah, that's going to be what I'm going to do too.
So we're running out of time, but I just wanted to highlight a few things that were in the chat, just in
Yeah.
case people hadn't seen. There's a graduate student who organized what she calls sunrise yoga over Zoom, and everybody watches the YouTube video and practice yoga as a group. And I've seen some things come in from neighborhoods where people were at a social distance from each other, but all doing exercise together. So be aware that some of those things are going on. And research support systems have been mentioned, and karaoke sessions have been mentioned. And yeah, karaoke on Zoom has come up a couple of times in the chat. There's a for A&M students, Sanvelo is something that you have available, and they're providing unlimited access to the premium content during this time.
Yes.
So people have been saying thank you. And for anybody who wanted to continue the conversation about what to do in this time, the very next thing is in the session, like 15 minutes from now, there's a group coaching, and we can continue to tease out anything. But I think thank you very, very much. It has been fabulous. So I think everybody should be giving virtual
First
claps.
time.
It was very helpful, I'm sure, for everybody. And with that, I'll stop the recording, but people can be staying here for a minute saying goodbye.
Yeah, and also if you want to contact me to ask for any information or any question you like, you can contact me through my email.
That's excellent. Excellent. So it was good. How do you like doing this?
Pretty good. It's crazy because I wrote down all the scripts I'm going to talk about. I did not look at it at all.
Yeah, yeah, that's not uncommon. So I'm trying to stop the recording. It seems to be having difficulty stopping the recording today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So if you're watching by recording, you should stop now because it's supposed to be, there we go. Now it's